Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Deer Park Coaches Show. He's head coach Tucker Berger. I'm Jake Snyder, here to recap the final game of the season, Week 10. We're in the playoffs, Tuck. Week 11 is upon us now, but let's look backwards first to Wyoming. 42-22 defeat at the hands of Wyoming. Honestly, we know how good Wyoming is. They're 9-1. They're second in the CHL. Their lone loss is the 10-0 Indian Hill. We know what that team is. We know what they look like. I thought your team showed some positive moments in this game. Yeah. I thought you guys did a lot of things really, really well.
Yeah. Definitely, I think more second half. First half really felt like we were just shooting ourselves in the foot a lot, offensively and defensively. Offensively, we just had some really untimely penalties that I thought really, really hurt us. And then defensively, I think we just really struggled to adjust to start. I thought we got into positions where we could make plays and we just didn't make the play, which, that's just tough to overcome. But then you look at the whole second half. We were down 35-0 at one point. Running clock put on us. And then, we went out and outscored them 22-7 to end the game, which I think gives you something to build on. But it also showed that, we have the ability to play with these teams at the top of the league. You have to put it together for 4 quarters. It can't just be for a quarter and a half. And I think that's the thing that just, really sucked about Friday is, it just felt like there was no energy for the first 2 quarters. And then, third quarter we come out. They took back the opening kickoff of the second half. And you're sitting there like, oh, man, this could just tumble. But the guys didn't really lose it. They stuck together. They played hard. And, defense got some stops. And then offense capitalized on some things. We hit some big plays. Yeah. We went down the field, we scored, and it wasn't like we did it on their JV. They had some subs in here and there, but primarily we did it against their offense. Their first group defense, there's positives, and we took them away and we harp on those. But I think this is just a game where you look at the good things and you tell them this is why you succeeded. You look at the bad things and you tell them this is why you got to clean them up because you can play with these guys if you don't make those simple mistakes.
Yeah, and we'll jump into some film and talk about that game for a second, but I do want to look ahead real quick and touch on this at the end too. But as you get ready for the Region 24 playoffs here, you're the number 11 seed. Yep. You're going to face 7-3 Anna High School. It's a long trip up north. Yeah. Anna, they look really, really good on film. It's a good football team, a good football program. What do you see from Anna and what you're going to try to do this week?
Yeah. Just being around for the past couple years, I think you get accustomed to knowing what you're getting into when you go to those teams up north. Anna's in a tough conference with Coldwater and Marion Local and Fort Recovery. They're a real battle-tested team. You look at they beat Coldwater by, I think, a point or 2. They lose to Marion Local in double overtime by 2. They're a team who maybe in terms of school size hasn't played a comparable schedule to us. Yeah. But I think when you look at caliber of team, it's up there with us. And I think that's the biggest thing is, you check out the film and they might not pop off in many areas, but what you get is you get a team that's fundamentally sound, disciplined, does what they do, and they're going to come ready to play. And that's the thing with those schools up north is, football's what the community is.
Yeah, you watch a game film of any of those teams. Oh, it's packed everywhere. Just wild atmospheres. That it's going to be rowdy on Friday.
Oh, and that's the thing. I've seen some stuff that they're doing Halloween on Thursday so everyone can come to the game on Friday. Yeah. It's going to be an atmosphere and an environment that I don't think many of our kids have seen before. So I think there's positives and negatives to that. I think the positive is you see what it's like. Yeah. And it's a different experience than what you're used to around here. But I think the downside is, you have to get adjusted early to it. We're getting out of here early. We're getting up there just so we can have some time to kind of adapt. We're not feeling rushed. And I think that's going to be big for us. But if we show up and we play our game, I think we got a shot to hang around with them. But that's been the focus, I think, throughout the week is you can't just try to do it by yourself. You can't be an individual because you're not going to beat a good team like this doing that. You got to lean on other guys. You have to play together. You have to be positive. You got to stay as one if you want a shot to keep playing. And I think that's just what we have to do. And I think you look at games where we've been successful, we've played together. We've done everything together. We haven't hurt ourselves. We haven't cost ourselves games. But you look at the games we've lost, I think you can point to probably 5-6 spots in the game where there's one thing we've done that's really just led to a downfall of a couple different things. And really, you look back to maybe 2 out of our 5 losses. Yeah. I think we beat ourselves. Right. I think we beat ourselves. I think there's 3 games where, either we just didn't show up and from the jump we couldn't play, or I thought the other team was just better from a start to finish.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Just limit your mistakes, play your game, trust each other, and I think you set yourself up to play a game with them.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's take a quick look back at Wyoming on Friday night. Offensively, like you said, first half there were moments, a few things, and we'll look at a couple of those. But in the end, you finished with 368 yards of offense, 188 through the air, 180 on the ground. Yeah. Super balanced attack. Morgan takes the primary snaps at quarterback, 10 for 25, 188 and a touchdown. Tink Sellers. What a game for Tink Sellers.
Welcome
6
back.
receptions, 173 yards. We're going to look at 2 of his catches, his touchdown and one other catch that he made that was incredible. But we could have picked out 100 of them. Morgan, 13 carries for 120 yards. He scores twice, including a 72-yard run. Ingram, I thought his 60 yards were some of the best 60 yards I've seen. And we'll look at some of his as well. Offensively, I thought you guys, like you said, mostly in the second half, but in general, played really, really well.
Yeah. And I think there's a different dynamic to the offense when Morgan's playing quarterback versus when Tink's playing. I don't really necessarily want to go out there and throw the ball 25 times with Morgan, but I thought he did a good job adjusting and making the throws we need him to make. Yeah. But when you add a playmaker like Tink to the outside, that's just tough. We knew going into the week that Wyoming corners were good, but we also knew that they weren't as big as what our 2 receivers were going to be out there. I thought Caden had a good game too out there. I thought he made some tough catches. And obviously you look at Tink's numbers. He popped. He made 2 or 3 catches that you're just like, wow, like I can't believe he made them. And he really just made some chunk plays off of that. But like I said, that's stuff that we've tapped into every single week. We've had packages when Tink was playing where Morgan was at quarterback and Tink was out wide. Over the summer they both repped it, so they both got accustomed to it. 7-on-7s and everything like that, they both played quarterback and both played slot or receiver, so they were used to it. But I just think this shows, how diverse we are and how many different ways we can go about the offense. Obviously with Morgan back there, there's more quarterback runs. Yeah. Stuff might hit a little bit quicker, but our pass game might not be, as downfield as it was when Tink's back there. But, then you flip that on the other end, when Tink's back there or when Morgan's back there, stuff gets out quicker, the ball gets out quicker. But you put Tink on the outside, you now have a legitimate deep threat who can go up there and make 50-50 balls look like 70-30 balls.
Yeah.
So I think just continuing to develop that moving forward is going to be a big thing. But, I thought the adjustment in the second half, I thought, playing a little bit wider, playing a little bit faster really helped the guys. And I thought they really adjusted to what, we talked about at halftime. And I thought what, we thought we needed to do coaching-wise to kind of have some success.
So we are going to look at the offensive side. We're going to look at several of those catches that you just alluded to. But I want to jump backwards for a second and kind of jump into the defense.
Okay.
I don't want to talk all about defense, but I want to look at this play because this play sets up the next play that we're going to watch. And so that's why I want to show this one first. Antonio White goes and makes a heck of a play right here.
Yeah, it's a blown coverage on that right side. Yeah. And Tony really just does a good enough job of having enough awareness to see the guy coming over across the field and cutting underneath of it and making the play. I think oftentimes that quarterback's not looking at the backside corner. He's really just has a one-side read, and he sees that both our guys go with that wheel. So no one goes with the post. So, he knows if he hits it, it's a touchdown.
Yeah.
Tony does a good job of, feeling it out. He doesn't fly over there and give him that backside throw, but he kind of sneaks, and then he jumps it. And that's just a really good play. And, I've talked about it. Tony's gotten better every single week. And, we've kind of been waiting for him to pop off and make the play here. And, I was joking with him before the game. I was like, man, you're wearing that sweatshirt. It kind of worries me. He's like, what? I'm like, I don't know, man. You might be a little slow in it. And he's like, no, coach, I got you. And I'm like, all right, whatever works. So, he goes out there and he makes a big play that I thought really gave us a little bit of life. It's still 7-0.
Yeah, right.
And it was close, I thought, for a lot of the first half, towards maybe the end of the second quarter. But, that's just a play that keeps you alive and it sets you up to do things positively offensively.
Yeah, which is exactly what we're going to look at here. This is the following play. And talk me through this one, because this is just, like we talked about, those 50-50 balls going up and getting one.
Yeah. So really I think the biggest thing for us was we wanted to manipulate that high safety for him and see where we could go. Obviously, if we get Tink by himself on the backside, that's a matchup we like. And we know with Wyoming that if we go trips and he's isolated over there and the safety's not over there, it's one-on-one coverage.
Yeah.
So Tink does a good job of starting in. He gets that guy to kind of press him in a little bit, and then he snaps outside. And once he snaps outside, the guy's got to flip his hips and run. And, what most people don't know about Tink is he's a pretty fast runner. He runs 100 for the track team for a reason. So Morgan does a good job of getting the ball out. He gets the ball out on time. I thought our protection was really good. And he puts it really in a spot where it's either where Tink catches it or no one catches it.
Right.
And then really just, after Tink catches it, it's the yards after the catch that are huge too. He fights to get that, I thought he got maybe close to 50 yards on it.
Yeah, 59 on
so close to 60. He fights for probably 12, 13 of those yards.
Yeah.
So really I think that's just another dimension that we have that you don't necessarily see when Tink's at quarterback versus out wide.
Yeah, and we're going to jump right into it, because there's a couple more plays that I want to look at here that he, everything is done really well. We're into the second half now. Again, the game's gotten away a little bit, but the guys are still fighting, and you get a play like this.
Yeah. So we kind of set this up. We were quick, hitch. And really the purpose of this play was to kind of get that corner to bite. We don't do a great job of selling the hitch, but Morgan's pump fake just holds him up a little bit, and then he just puts the ball up and lets Tink make a play. But you see the burst, Tink runs by the guy, and then I know you can't see it here, but Tink goes up over top of the guy, catches the ball, and has enough contact to come down, stay on his feet, and then score. That's just another great play by a kid who I think has a lot of potential at the receiver position past Deer Park.
Yeah.
He's just going to continue to make those kind of plays for us.
Well, and I'm just going to go ahead and jump into this one.
This is crazy.
This is insane.
Yeah.
And this is the type of stuff that you look for, at that next level. There's some sort of intangible about this, something you can't teach. No coach is going to be able to teach. It's just an instinct for being able to do this.
Yeah, it's like one of those memes where it's just like, throw it up. Usually it's
Jamar Chase.
Yeah, just throw it up. Jamar's down there somewhere. And that's kind of what it was. Just throw it up. Tink's down there somewhere. But, the fact that he has, I think, enough fight to go get the ball, but also enough concentration to just stay with the play. That's an interception. The kid bobbles it. When he bobbles it, Tink just goes in there, takes it, and
takes it right away from him.
And I think that was huge. It got the guys back up. It got him rolling. He catches it, stays through it throughout the whole process, and just keeps moving. I've never seen anything like that.
No,
really.
It was
cool.
Cool.
And that's just crazy from going down to the ball only popping up for about maybe a second and a half, and you make the play on it that way. It's crazy that he actually came down with it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. One last play we're going to look at here. Actually, I think I've got two more, but we're going to jump into this one. This is just a scramble drill, and this is just your athletes in space making plays.
Yeah. Side note, I let Morgan kind of call his own play, and he put together about 4 different things, so I don't know if everyone was on the same page, but I mean, they got the job done. So, I mean, he fakes the bubble to get some of those guys to clear out, and Tink runs deep, and, we're at the point in the game now where they're sending 2 or 3 guys with him just because he's made all those plays. But, I mean, if you give Morgan a little bit of a seam, he's going to take it. And, I mean, that's a 72-yard run where he doesn't really get touched until he's about 30 yards down the field. And then, he goes the last 15, 20 yards with 2 guys trying to punch the ball and on his back. I mean, so that's just a will to get in the end zone. But, I mean, that's just a guy who's made plays for us all year, just stepping up and continuing to make it. And I think that's just one of the biggest things for him is that, I think he has enough leadership to step up and make those plays when we need him the most.
Yeah.
And I thought that was just something he did throughout the whole night. I mean, yeah, it's frustrating when you can't move the ball often. Yeah, it's frustrating when we can't really get the run game going a whole lot. But then, staying with it and making the big plays at big spots, I think that was something he did a lot tonight.
Yeah, for sure. The last one I want to look at for any of our film is really just because I think it's worth talking about Taj Ingram one more time here. This is his longest of his 9 carries for 60 yards. But there's at least 3 of these, maybe 4 or 5 of them. This burst in the middle here is super impressive.
Yeah. I mean, he kind of hits a little wall at the beginning, but he has enough wiggle to kind of make that first initial cut. So, I mean, he makes that first initial cut off of Jesse. And once he gets to the second level, I mean, he's bigger than I think people think he is. And he's also a little bit faster than people think he is. But Taj just does a good job of really finding that hole, finding where his lane is, making the cut, and then once he sees it, he gets vertical. And that's all we teach is, if you see Green go, he found Green, he went, and then he picks up 23 on it. So really that's just a huge play by Taj, and it's just something that I think has been constant throughout the years, just Taj kind of having these games where the stats might not pop off, but he's just doing what he's supposed to do, and he's just keeping the offense moving at a steady pace.
Yeah, for sure. All right, looking at the defensive side of the ball here, 64 tackles, 2 tackles for loss. Brown finishes with 13, 9 solo. Gorey, EJ has 12 tackles. CJ Warner with 11 tackles. Sefasaki, 7 tackles. And then you did find some turnovers in this game too, here and there. So, 44 points, it's, against a really good football team. That's not really all that surprising, but some moments there that gave you a chance to kind of be in it at some points.
Yeah. And I think that's really the thing that we look at the most is that, I thought they could have really came out at a halftime and just quit. I thought they could have just, phoned it in. It could have been like Indian Hill where it just turned into a track meet every single play and they're just scoring every single drive. But, I thought they buckled down. I thought they made them work for the points, and I really thought they adjusted in the second half. At times we didn't really put ourselves in the best position offensively or on special teams for the defense, giving up an onside kick and put them on the plus side of the 50, turning the ball over here and there and just kind of giving them some of those short fields. You're not converting 4th downs and putting them right at the 50. I don't think that helps them defensively. But I thought just the fact that they just continue to play is a good sign because, we got a lot of young guys out there, and we've talked about it before, is I think we have, 7 or 8 guys that haven't played or weren't on the team last year or played a majority of the snaps last year. So I think they've grown, but, I mean, football is just a sport where, it's tough to just adjust so much, especially when you're playing teams that are this disciplined and this good.
Yeah, good teams like this are going to expose any weaknesses.
And that's the thing,
and they're going to do it mercilessly in most cases. So, you're definitely right about that.
Yeah, and I mean, I thought that was the big thing is I thought they did a good job of identifying weak points. I think they had an idea of what they wanted to do and where they wanted to attack, and they did it. And, they had the ability to just continue to stay with it, and we didn't force them off that. But like I said, I mean, obviously I thought we could have done better, but I thought we did well enough in just hanging around and playing in the game and forcing, turnovers and forcing a punt here and there.
For sure. All right, let's jump to our student athletes of the week now. For some of these sports, it'll be the last ones that we have. And I know the Deer Park Athletics Twitter account, X account, is going to continue featuring student athletes over the course of the year. So make sure you go follow them, DP_athletics. Once our show is done for the year, they'll still be honoring and recognizing these folks as well. So first we're going to look at the cheerleading squad, where Chelsea Libre is the final student athlete of the week for the fall season. Chelsea's done an amazing job cheering on Friday night games throughout the season, and Coach Nolan says, I can always count on Chelsea to take initiative, start cheers throughout the game. She shows up ready to work and give her best effort. Chelsea is a strong athlete and a wonderful teammate. We're so proud to have her on her squad. I'm going to let you jump in here real quick, just because we know we don't have a home game left. So just the atmosphere that both our cheerleaders, our fans, our community give us over the course of the year is something I think we need to be grateful for.
Oh, yeah. And, I think, I think Coach Nolan deserves a lot of credit and a lot of thank you. It's her first year. It's tough. I went through my first year last year, and I think there's a lot of things you don't know. Yeah. And I think a lot of the times you just get kind of thrown into the fire. You have to adapt and you have to adjust and you kind of have to figure it out. And I thought she did a really good job of doing that throughout this year so far. Obviously, I think we have one of the best bands in the city. Bauer, Vetter, Brenda with the color guard, all the parent support they have. It's just incredible to see, how much support is put into the band and how much they get recognized, because I think it's something special.
No doubt about it.
Before I came here, I didn't really know how much goes into band competitions, color guard, things like that. But I've been here for 6 years, and it's just a whole new world. And if you haven't seen them perform, or if you don't follow, everything they're doing, you probably should start now, because they don't get a lot of credit. They don't get as much publicity as times as some of the athletic teams here. But, they're doing just as much, or if more, and getting more recognition at the state and regional level as some of these teams are. Just the fact that, they're at every home game, they travel with us sometimes, and just to have that with us, I think, is incredible. We have some kids that float between band and the football team, and this year was less than it's been, but I think just seeing how these worlds connect and seeing how they play off of each other is awesome. And shout out to Bauer. I think he's one that's really tied into, the football team and how can the band help us, and how can they play their part in impacting what we do. I talked to him probably 2 or 3 times throughout the week about who we're playing, what the playoffs were going to look like, things like that, just so he could be prepared for it. I just can't thank them enough. And then you add that all together, because I think that increases the amount of people that are in the stands, how many people are coming out to just support everybody there, and then in turn staying to support the football team after performances and everything. And it just really creates an environment that, I think that was one of the things I've really wanted to grow once I took over last year, was how can we get the stands packed on Fridays? How can we fill it up? How can we get more students out? And really the answer is, one, increase student engagement in teams, clubs, band, color guard, things like that. But also, just by winning and doing things like that, that's going to increase it as well. But I think finding kids that want to be active and engaged in doing things is the biggest thing. And football might not be your thing. Cool. It's not for everyone. I get that. But taking a chance and trying out band, trying out color guard, trying out some of these other activities that are going to have you around, just classmates and other things like that, I think are a big thing. Kudos to all those people. They do everything. They earn everything they get. I'm just really appreciative to have them on our side, because I'd hate to come here and play against a band that's that loud and that good. So I appreciate it, guys.
All right, this next sport here, and I know you'll have stuff to say about this one too, because this team has been, supportive of you.
Oh yeah,
and also probably the best season in school history. So for volleyball, first we'll recognize student athlete Riley Carr. Heading into the first 2 tournament games, Riley was serving very consistently and playing disciplined defense. She continued to keep her serving at top level in all 3 tournament games, with 36 total attempts and only 3 errors. Team relied on her to put the ball in play when she came in, and she delivered. She has a serve that's trickier to pass, according to Coach Beach, than it seems like it would be, which causes problems for the opponent. Riley works hard at every practice, gives full effort in drills, and really helps lead this team. Again, this volleyball team.
Oh, yeah.
Coach Beach is creating a culture there that is something special to watch.
Yeah. So, I went out to the game last week with my dad. It was a tough one. Miami East was really good.
Yeah.
But, those girls battled, and I think that's the thing is you've seen that mindset throughout the whole year that they just, it doesn't matter who they play. They're going to go out there and they're going to give it their best shot. I think Coach Beach has done a good job of just instilling that in the girls. Like, you're playing yourself. The CHL is a tough league. You got those teams at the top that are going to be good. But it's, winning the games that you should win and then battling the teams that are at the top.
Yep.
And I think they've done that all year. Obviously, we got some girls that are associated with football that double into volleyball. Camille's been around for 3 years. Abby's been here 2 years. Grace is helping out this year. Riley's been here for 2 years. You add Bree in there. She's really helped us out so far. I know she doesn't, but Megan Brown helps us as well. Those girls are just as important, I think, to what we do as the guys that are on the team. Mm-hmm. Even since their season ended, those girls have been at practice every single day and helping out. Those girls were here the first week we started in May, and they really haven't missed it all. Mm-hmm. Those are girls who are juggling volleyball, color guard, band, with being at football practice. They just don't stop, and it's incredible to see what they do. And I don't think I can thank them enough just for how much they've done, across the whole season. We ask a lot of them. They travel with us everywhere. They're at every practice that they can make. And it's just, I think it just feeds into what we're trying to build as a school, is that you just have kids that care and that just want to be a part of as much as they can do and impact as many kids as they can. We're going to miss Grace, Abby, and Camille. They've been a huge part of what we do. I've really just enjoyed getting to know all the girls so much and just really seeing it's different when you're around just the football team. Mm-hmm. Because I think you get a lot of guys that are similar to each other. You get a lot of guys that have the same mindset, that have the same interest. But then when you broaden it to people that are different from them, I think that really opens you up to what the community looks like as a whole.
Yeah.
All those girls are great people. All those girls are going to be successful. All of them are going to go do great things. It's going to be tough to replace those three. And it's weird saying that for people that, aren't playing on Fridays, but I don't think I can really talk about how much they do on the outside that people don't really see. We're going to try to replace them. But it's going to be tough just because of, how much and how dedicated they are to just ensuring that we are successful and set up for everything we need to be successful.
Yeah, one last point on just who they are as people and who that volleyball team is collectively. I got a message earlier this week. It was forwarded from Mr. Vandermeer, from the principal of Miami East, who reached out to Mr. Vandermeer to let him know that this was the best sportsmanship they've ever seen in any kind of game. It was parents, it was our players stopping and telling them how good they thought they were, how much they enjoyed the battle. This wasn't something we even should know about or we're planning on knowing about, but that's the kind of attitude that they carry and bring along, which is really, really cool to see. So kudos to them on the field, as good of a season as they've ever had. Coming up just short of a district title. That's not something to scoff at. Like, that's a huge deal.
They'll be back.
And there's no doubt about that. They'll be back. So, all right, I'm going to give the floor to you for your football student athlete of the week as well here. So go ahead and talk about Tink for us.
Yeah. So Tink, Tink's a guy who obviously you can see what he does on the field, but I think his biggest growth has been with his mindset. Last year I thought we got into some spells where, stuff went wrong or things weren't going the way that he thought they should. And he didn't know how to handle it. But I think going into this season, we saw a lot of growth in him. And those times where things did get difficult, he didn't shut down. I thought he actually picked up his play at times and actually led the team through some of those. Obviously the Marymount game, you get worried, when someone goes down like that and then they get taken out. I was worried, not necessarily that he wouldn't come back, because you got to get yourself right. I was more worried that he wasn't going to get back to being who Tink was. The Indian Hill week he didn't play. We didn't see him a whole lot, and I'm not going to lie, we didn't see him a whole lot. He wasn't at practice. I think he had some stuff he was trying to figure out. I think he was just trying to get right. And then luckily we got him back to the game, and he was at the Indian Hill game with us. He was in my ear on the sideline telling me things he saw. So then that kind of let me know, okay, I think he's back. I think he's good. And he worked his butt off last week just to get back to being able to play. He had to go through pretty much the concussion protocol 5 days just to get back to being able to play on Friday. And, it was tough for him, because I think, you just saw that urge for him to just want to jump back out there. And, he thought he was fine. He thought he was going to be able to do stuff just right then and there, but he had to go through that protocol. And, he fought it at first, but I think once he got through it, he was kind of relieved. And I thought he really showed up. He had a heck of a game, but I think it's just more important than that. I think you see what he can do. You see the type of player he is. But I think there's just so more than the stats that are big. I think just the fact that he got back out there, I was a little nervous. I didn't know how he was going to react to being back out there, how he was going to react to taking the first hit. He blew my expectations away. But, the fact that I think he's all the way bought in, mindset's in the right spot, he's doing what he has to do to support himself and his teammates are just huge. And I think that's something big for him, especially, throughout the rest of the season and then going into his senior year.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Let's wrap this thing up. A couple of things. First and foremost, nothing's promised next week. So, I think if this is our last episode, I always like to take a minute. First of all, express my gratitude just for being able to do this and being part of this. It's a blast to film with you, number one, but also to watch the reactions and see how much interaction we get on our social medias and all of those things. To see people sharing it and talking about it every week is really cool for me. But I know you have a lot of people you obviously want to say thank you to for this year as well. So.
For sure. So I think the first thanks, and it's really the biggest thanks, is Karen Henry. Throughout the year and into the summer, I'd ask people to kind of take on the role of organizing a lot of meals for us and things like that, just to kind of get some stuff off my plate. And I really didn't have many takers. And Karen's juggling a lot right now with, having 3 kids and all them having sports and helping out with junior high cheer as well as teaching. And she took it, and she's done an incredible job with it. She's made sure that everything's done. She's made sure that she's up to date with, things I want the kids eating, making sure that all the money that we get donated and all that is taken care of, setting it up, picking it up, things like that. That's just so selfless. She doesn't have a kid on the team. It's just something that she's doing to help us out. She's just done an incredible job. So, I don't think a lot of people give her enough credit for everything she does around here, because at times it feels like she's wearing 8 different hats.
Busiest woman in Deer Park is
for sure.
My comment
for sure.
on her often.
But and she's helping out with the levy, and so it's just, she's not going to let herself do less, but she's also not going to let herself do less than she expects out of herself, which I think is just something that a lot of people have to admire. So that's probably the biggest thanks, is just to Karen and all she's done just to ensure that we're successful and that everything's put in place to take a little bit off my plate, but just to make sure those kids are having the best opportunity to go out there and perform. Leading into that, her husband, Russ, Randy Bucker, Stephen Levitt, those guys have helped us all year with film. And it was tough. We got a new film system this year, and they had to adapt and learn it. And, they spent some time over the summer really trying to figure out the system and on calls with the company and things like that. But, I think they've gotten the system down now, and really it's benefited us a lot. There's something with being able to look at the game in real time and make adjustments like that that's really beneficial and help make us as successful as we can be. So I can't thank those guys enough for really showing up every single week and just taking time out of their busy schedules and doing that. And, also, I got to shout out Randy. He helped us with spirit wear, as did you. And I mean, Randy makes me a shirt every single week, so he's got to deal with my annoying text on Sunday asking him, hey, what you got, what designs we got, things like that. So, I mean, just another person that's really going above and beyond to help us out. Obviously, you know, my coaches, I think this has probably been by far the best group of coaches I've been around.
Yeah.
You know, their attendance has been incredible. You know, they make themselves as available as they can. I mean, there's some guys who can't be there every single day, and I get it, just because of jobs and stuff, but they're out there doing as much as they can, and if they're not there, then I know they're still working because they're sending me stuff. They're saying, hey, I see this, I see that. And we ask a lot of them. And I think that they've really adapted. So, you know, I can't thank those guys enough. You know, I count her as a part of our coaching staff, but I think probably the biggest thanks to all of them goes to Alex. Yeah. If you guys don't know Alex Camper, she's our trainer. Feels like she's been here for 10 years, but I think she's been here, maybe four or five.
Something like that.
I got a problem with her because she owes me 2 jerseys because she's starting to cut them now. But no, I mean, she does so much, and I think the attention that she gives us is incredible because she's also got to juggle both the soccer teams as well as volleyball while teaching a class, while still trying to deal with all the stuff she does in her personal life. I mean, it's just insane how much time and effort she puts into it. And I mean, she's kind of that maternal figure that everyone flocks to when they need it. So, I mean, she gets a bunch of unnecessary stuff at times from some of these boys. And, I mean, I think she's just always in good spirits, and she just really is something I think just helps us go. I mean, having her so bought in to what I'm trying to do and having her so in on the culture and just around is just huge. And I think the fact that she's just that locked in and wants to help us be that successful, and that she just is so immersed in what we do is just incredible.
That doesn't happen everywhere.
No,
I don't think
it doesn't.
May or may not understand that, but like, she is not a full-time, you know, like she works for somebody else who we contract out. That is not expected, or, you know, it doesn't happen at every other place. For her to be as much of a part of this culture as anybody else out there is admirable and very impressive.
Yeah. And I mean, then you factor in that she's really watching over 4 girls that are working for us.
Yeah.
And usually that 4 turns into 6. And I mean, that's just another thing that she adds to her plate. But I mean, she gives us 110% every single day. And I mean, when she's not at that 110, she lets us know. And I mean, I think it's a give and take relationship, because I think there's days she knows where, you know, hey, I'm not all the way there. You know, I need some help. So she does a good job of really picking us up when we need it. She does a good job of being present. She does a good job of being there. And really, she just does a good job of working with us to just ensure that all our guys are healthy, that they're going to be back, that they're doing the things they need to do. I mean, you don't get that kind of support and that input from a trainer everywhere. So, I mean, that's probably the biggest thanks I got is to Alex. I mean, she goes above and beyond of what's expected of her, and I mean, it really helps us.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Deer Park Coaches Show. Week 11, Wildcats travel to Anna High School, first round of the OHSAA District 6 Region 24 playoffs. You know, it's win or go home at this point. They all matter now. And you're going facing a good team in a raucous environment. Yep. I do think on behalf of you, I'll say thanks to everybody for joining us every week. Again, the numbers show that you guys show up every single week, win or lose. They look the same regardless of what we're talking about. So we're appreciative of you all for being with us. I hope we'll see you next week. I plan to see you next week, but it's the playoffs and you never know. So go check them out. Wildcat football team at Anna on Friday night. He's Tucker Berger. I'm Jake Snyder, and we will see you all on Friday night.